Let's talk about the infinite now. There is no future, there is no past, there is only now. Where does everything reside? It resides inside of us. When does everything reside? It only resides in the right now. I can't wait to talk more about this, so let's get started. The infinite now. Everybody talks about it all the time. What the heck is this thing? And why is it so important? Why is living in the moment important? We could go on and on as to that. I'm going to give you an example. In my class that I teach to help people overcome negative entity attachments and depression and PTSD and all these other problems that people experience and all this suffering that people experience, I ask a question at the beginning of every class. What has been your average suffering over the last week on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the worst possible suffering. They invariably, especially at the beginning of the class, they invariably will say a 7 or an 8 or a 6 out of 10. And then when I ask, so what is your suffering right this second? Every single time, I mean, very rarely is this any different. They will almost always have a much lower number for their suffering right now as opposed to average over the last week. And there's only one reason for that. It's because, well, there's actually multiple reasons for that. There's one dominant reason for that, and that is that the instant moment of the right now is never as bad as what we remember from the past. It just isn't. Because when you're in the now moment, then you're focused on something completely different than when you focus on life in general or overall. Because when you do that, you integrate the past and you integrate the future. Okay, so what's wrong with that? Well, the past, we have to step back. When we think about things, we generally think about things in a negative way. We think about what's wrong. And when we think about, why would we do that? Why would we think about what's wrong? It's a survival mechanism. We're trying to figure out what has gone wrong so that we don't repeat it, or what is going to go wrong so that we don't enter into it. So when we're in that sort of mindset, then we are only finding what's wrong with everything. But when we're in the now moment, then we don't do that as much. We think more about what's in front of us, what's going on here. Why I'm seeing the palm trees. I'm seeing the rippling of the water behind me. I'm noticing the minor details of the comfort of my clothes, or how comfortable the seat is that I'm sitting in. We're really focused, we're zooming in on this precise moment. And in this precise moment, it's very easy to find beautiful things because we live in this incredible world of miracles. We're constantly surrounded by miracles. I mean, the fact that I'm in Florida right now with these wonderful trees and alligator probably filled lake, though I haven't seen any yet. That's kind of amazing that this exists and I get to be here, and you can come here too. You can go to all these amazing places on this planet, and they're absolutely miracles that have happened here and that are currently happening and that we're in right now. We can be grateful. We can be easily grateful for all the situations in the moment. I'm grateful that I have this camera that I can talk to. I'm grateful that I'm standing here in this beautiful place. I'm grateful that the breeze is nice so it's not too hot. I'm grateful on and on and on for this beautiful scene behind me. It just never ends. But when we're in the past or we're in the future thinking about those things, we're generally thinking about what went wrong or what's going to go wrong. Does the past exist? Does the future exist? Do these places actually exist ever? No, they never have. And they never will. If you're thinking about the future, when you get to the future, where are you? You're in the now. When you think back to the past, did any of that really happen? I mean, we have a vague memory of it. It's usually not very strong or solid or correct. We just have little pieces and parts that we remember, things that really stood out to us, because our brains aren't meant to remember absolutely all the details. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to store all the information. So we have to pick and choose on what happened or what we think happened. So the only place that truly exists is the right now. And like I said, where does everything exist? It exists inside of us. When does everything exist? Always right now. And when you hear different channels talking about time and different higher vibrational beings, time for them is very different than time is for us. For them, everything happens simultaneously, always in the infinite now. For us, we perceive time in a linear fashion. So we believe that things are coming and going. But that's not actually what's happening. We have this incredible ability to receive and perceive time in a linear fashion. This is what makes us pretty special, because even the higher vibrational beings can't really perceive it in that same way. They don't really understand how we perceive it. And it's one of the reasons that we go from those higher vibrational beings and choose to come here in this 3D world so that we can experience it and be like, all right, that's how time works. Like, it's totally different than this infinite everything happening simultaneously. So, okay, in the infinite everything happening simultaneously, everything that has ever happened in history is happening right now. And everything that will ever happen is happening right now. It's hard to get our brains wrapped around this because we really understand things in a linear fashion and not in this instantaneous fashion. So I understand if you're kind of like going, I don't know, Xane, this sounds kind of hokey. I get it. But it's also why, if you've watched some of my other videos or other light workers who do activations that are recorded in the video, that the activations still work if you watch a recording. This was a shock to me when I first got into this whole thing, to realize that I could make a recording of a negative entity removal activation or an emotional relief activation, and that anybody could watch it at any time. Well, and part of the reason for that is that, yeah, I'm working with the extra-dimensional collective called the Hathors. They're a powerful extra-dimensional collective that I call on when I do the different healing work that I do. And so I was thinking to myself, well, what if they're busy? What if they're busy when I want to call on them? Well, it doesn't work that way. There is no such thing as being busy, because everything is happening simultaneously. So they are infinitely available to do any healing work that I ask for or anybody else who works with the Hathors asks for. So you're watching something that I recorded 3 years ago, and you're able to receive the healing from that thing from 3 years prior. And that's because the Hathors are always there giving the activations whenever they're needed, because it's all happening simultaneously. There's still that jump, right? Like I've almost got you there, I feel like, but there's still this weird hop into this other possibility. And if you're not quite getting it, I understand, and we're not really supposed to. Because if we were supposed to understand things in that way, then we would be able to. But we're not supposed to, because it doesn't help us with survival. It always goes back to the survival thing. If we perceived everything as instantaneous, then we wouldn't work so hard to survive. We wouldn't run from the saber-toothed tiger, because we'd be like, well, we always exist. We don't have to worry about not existing anymore. We always exist. Okay, go ahead and eat me. I want to see what it feels like. Because life wouldn't be over. Life is infinitely that version of you always. You can't die in that situation. Whew, so hard to understand, right? But here, what's the important part of all this? We know that living in the moment cures so many ailments. And we know that living in the moment with gratitude cures even more issues, pain, suffering, all of it, by just being in the moment. So I'd like to go ahead and provide an activation to help you sort out the past and the future thoughts. Leave them aside and focus just on the now. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath. And relax as you exhale. Feel yourself sinking into the seat or to the chair that you're sitting in. You are an amazing being of light. You've come here to see this miracle, or these series of miracles, and you are a miracle observing all of those miracles. Yes, you've gone through suffering. You're experiencing things that you would prefer not to. But to always remember that even those experiences bring to you great growth and great expansion. To not run from those experiences, those sufferings, but to even turn toward them and face them. Experience them fully. Know that they're temporary and move on. And so in the now moment, it's easy to do that sort of thing. Oh, okay. Well, I can do it right now. I can face the thing that I don't want right now. I don't have to face it for the rest of my life. Actually, if I face it right now, I'm not going to have to face it for very long. I just know that in a future now moment, in an upcoming now moment, it won't be affecting me anymore. So bringing you into the now moment, I want you to forget right now about the future. The future is never going to arrive. You will always be in the now. I want you to forget about the past. The past has never actually happened. It's always happening right now. And I want you to pick one thing to be grateful for. Just pick it right now. Really breathe that in. Take a big deep breath and really appreciate that one thing that you're so grateful for. And when you exhale, relax into that as a very important part of your life experience. Feel the temperature of the room on your skin. Feel your clothes against your skin. Feel the breath moving in and out of your nostrils. The way my activations work is I'm going to say breath in, and when I do, you're going to take a nice big deep breath, you're going to hold it at the top, and you're going to wait for me to make an explosive sound that will be the energy transfer to release those future and past thoughts and focus 100% in the now moment whenever you want to moving forward. Breath in. Excellent. Okay. When you're ready to live in the now, to appreciate all the nows exactly as they happen, to love yourself, and to feel grateful for all the experiences that are happening, all the things that you have right now, then you can open your eyes. It's funny for me to actually talk about the now moment because my dominant emotion is excitement. And excitement is actually a future prediction. You can be excited about something that hasn't happened yet. It's hard to be excited about something that is happening because it is intrinsically a future emotion. So actually you would have joy over something rather than excitement over something that's happening right now. So my expertise is actually a little bit more in the future. And I have such faith in the future. I have so much confidence that everything's going to work out that I carry that with me everywhere that I go. I say things like, I know that I will figure it out. No matter what happens, I know I'll figure it out. I'm good. I've done it so far, and so have you. So you can trust that whatever's going to happen in the future, in a future now moment, is going to be totally fine. And it's never going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. It just isn't. That's because we predict the worst possible case scenario so that we can circumnavigate it, so that we can survive. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I would definitely recommend that you download a free activation off of my website. You can find the link in the description below for that. It's a nervousness relief activation. It's one of the many emotional relief activations that I have available on the website that can help you circumnavigate or handle any lower vibrational emotion you might be experiencing. Fear, anxiety, worry, frustration, anger. They're all available on the website, but nervousness is a great one because if you're about to go in front of an audience and give a talk, or you ask for a raise or ask someone out on a date, you feel this nervousness feeling that's going to get in the way of you being able to be your cool, calm self when you do the thing that you're so nervous about. Watching that or listening to that activation will totally eliminate the tenseness and all the symptoms of nervousness so that you'll be able to smoothly go through whatever you need to do. So thank you so much for watching this video. It's been such a pleasure to make these for you week after week and month after month. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next one.